NHL best bets for Monday, April the 6th. Welcome in. It's puck time, guys. We've got picks for you in the NHL, and the race is on. We've been talking about it for weeks, for months. The playoffs are almost here, but there's money to be made in the NHL up until the last game of the regular season. Andrew McInnis, Carmine Bianco, both of us, of course, at WagerTalk.com. Both of us are feeling it right now in the NHL. We got a few games to break down here today. A play of the day, some player props for you guys, all kinds of good stuff. Carm, how are you, man? Good morning.
I'm doing great, man. It was a pretty good weekend. Not as good as yours, man. Congratulations on an easy 5% winner in the NHL. 12-0. You're going for the baker's dozen. Hopefully you have a play up for tonight. For clients, 7-3 for me. Run in the NHL should be 8-2. Andrew should be 8-2. When you have an open net for 8 minutes, Patrick Roy pulled his goalie for 8 minutes, and they could not. Nobody could score a goal. 8 minutes. All he needed was a goal in that game. But it is what it is. So I'll take the 7-3. I would have been better at 8-2, so I could say we're 20-2 combined. But we'll go with we are 19-3 combined. We have some great games today. We're going to talk Tampa Bay and Buffalo. A lot of play there. Nashville and the LA Kings, Chicago and San Jose. We'll try to get to the other game as well, too, if we have some time, because we're doing a make or miss segment as well, too. I've got a pretty cool stat up for you guys. Same game parlay for Andrew and pod play for me. And then in the closing, hopefully you guys cash with the pod play on Friday, the St. Louis Blues getting it done at plus money, plus 117. We'll see what we have in store for you guys today on this one. But the quicksand, the Uncle Fester image, Andrew, seems to be working.
I like it. I'll tell you, I like that one, Carm. Sometimes you got to just mix it up. You got to just shake and bake a little bit, mix it up a little, and it worked. So
my friends, one of my friends saw the graphic, and they're like, it looks like you're making fun of yourself. I'm like, if you can't make fun of yourself, then how can other people, if you can, it's just the way it is. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. And I like kind of the Uncle Fester with the hands on the sides there. We're going to keep that quicksand one going until we have a pod play loser, and then we'll come up with something different. So hopefully that one lasts until I hit the real beach on Thursday.
Keep it going. It looks fresh. Yeah, and Carm, I will tell you, do you remember on Friday when I said to you, I only have 2 picks for the same game parlay. We don't want to be greedy. Well, we hit that in the second period too. So between my parlay picks, we had a great week on PuckTime last week. However, last week is in the past. So let's get to this week. It's going to be a great week. Let's make it a big one.
Let's get going. Let me toss this up there, Andrew, so we can discuss this one. Tampa Bay favored in Buffalo, plus 115, Sabres minus 105. I think, Andrew, I'm going to give you my opinion on this one first, and then I'm going to toss it to you. But I think it's one of those ones where the Sabres have lost a couple games in a row. They didn't look good in the first period of that game against Washington, falling behind 3-0, but they pulled a couple back in that one. It's one of those ones where I think it's like playoff hangover. We made the playoffs, first time in 13 or 14 years. They're happy, and you sort of lose focus a little bit. I think the Sabres lost some focus in that one. They did pull it together and played a pretty good final 50 minutes of that game, but obviously couldn't get any closer to the Capitals. This is one of the ones where I think the Sabres, Andrew, you look at the 3 games this year, 4-3 for Tampa, first time they met this year in Tampa Bay. Tampa gets a late power play goal to send it to overtime, and then wins in an OT. Sabres win 6-2, and then the Sabres came back in that monster game, 8-7, and beat Tampa. They're not afraid to play this Tampa team. There have been high-scoring games, so you can look at the total here, even though it's shaded a little bit to the under. But this is all about, can the Sabres get off to a better start in the opening 20 minutes? Their last 10 games, they have only led in 2 of those games after 20 minutes. They've been tied in 4, and they've been trailing in 4 of those games. The good news is at home, Last 10 games at home, they've led after 20 minutes 5 times. They've only trailed twice. So 8 of 10 times they've either been ahead or tied in those ones. Tampa's opening 10 have been pretty bad. The last 10 overall, 1-6-3. They've only had the lead once. They've trailed 6 times in their last 10 overall. And their last 10 away, they 3-6-1. 3 leads after 1, 6 times trailing, 1 time tied at the end of 20 minutes. I think the Sabres come out a little better this time out. Put that we made the playoff stuff behind them and have a good opening 20 minutes in this one, Andrew. That's where I'm going. I'm taking the Sabres on the first period. Money line, get in, get out, and hopefully get a win. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, just finish up the play in 20 minutes. Sometimes it's all you need is 20 minutes. We had a comment from Rich saying fight night game. Of course, the last time these teams played, there were gloves all over the ice. There were a ton of fights. It was, people thought this could be a playoff preview. It still could be a playoff preview, but the likelihood it could be my Canadians and your Sabres going head to head. And we had a guy, Mason, on X saying, hey, you guys going to get to a game together or not? Me and you will have to figure that out. But this is going to be a physical game. And these are the games that you love to watch down the stretch, when it's the interdivisional games, when it's the games that matter. They feel like 4-point games because you're getting 2 points and your opponent is not getting 2 points, and you get to elevate yourself. Carm, when I look at this one, the penalties and physicality does scare me a little bit. Because of the goals and the strong power plays these teams have. But since I think the under is the way I want to look in this one, I think, I thought that line was fishy in the Buffalo and Washington game on Saturday. I leaned towards the Washington side, didn't really understand the number, and now it's like a wake-up call for the Buffalo Sabres. Hey, look, congratulations. You're in the playoffs. You've made it. You've went on the most unbelievable run that we all could have never imagined happening, but now you got to get back on track here. And last couple of games here for UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, 2.33 goals against per game. Vasilevsky, 2 goals per game. Save percentage, 912 for Vasi and 916 for UPL. So I'm going to look towards the under here. It hasn't been working every single time, of course, Carm, but when these divisional teams go head-to-head, we have been seeing some unders. And I think we'd be remiss not to mention the draw prop as well. Like, is the draw live here between these two teams? Do we see it? Do we see each team get at least 1 guaranteed point? I'm not sure, but it definitely is a bounce back. And you mentioned Buffalo at home. And, it's funny, Carm, because I didn't used to – I stopped caring as much about home ice. But then more and more these days, there are some teams that I care about it with. And it's not as much even about the crowd. It's about not letting John Cooper have the last change. And I do think that does benefit Buffalo in a big way because we know – John Cooper is such a great coach. You don't want to go up against him.
Yeah, it'll be a little different for the Sabres. Obviously, it's always a spirited affair between these two, Andrew. But during the regular season, and this is what people have to understand is, a lot of people will watch a game. Like when I was in Detroit, like I mentioned, I was in Buffalo a little over a week and a half ago to see the Red Wings in town, and you saw a lot of Red Wings jerseys in the stands. You see a lot of Montreal jerseys, you see a lot of Toronto jerseys, and you're like, the Sabres are doing so well. Why are fans selling their tickets? Because they sold their tickets early on before the Sabres even turned it around. So a lot of people, Leaf fans, Montreal fans, Detroit fans that want to make the road trip to Buffalo and get quite possibly a cheaper ticket, pick them up. Those are premium games for Sabre fans. They sell them, and no one expected them to turn it around. It's going to be a different story for them come playoff time. I can tell you that much. You're not going to see a lot of opponents' jerseys in the stands because the fans who have season tickets and renew them, or pick up their playoff tickets will not be selling them unless they get a pretty penny for it. This is one of those ones where I can agree with you on the under, although the 3 games have been high scoring between these two. The draw, I'm not too sure of. The Sabres want to win this game. Obviously, they want to send a message to Tampa Bay, and not only that, a win tonight puts them tied with Tampa Bay, even though Tampa has a game in hand. But more importantly, gives them a regulation win if they get it done in 60 minutes, and ties them with Tampa Bay. And that's the first tiebreaker come a playoff time. Like right now, if you look at the standings, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're showing Montreal, who are tied with the Buffalo Sabres, ahead of the Buffalo Sabres. But the Sabres actually have the head-to-head tiebreaker, because the head-to-head tiebreaker is regulation wins. The Sabres have 38, Montreal has 32. So the Sabres do have home ice as far as the Atlantic Division is concerned, as the number 2 seed. They can move to the number 1 seed temporarily, although they still wouldn't have the number 1 seed even if they beat them in regulation tonight, because the game in hand will come into play, of course,
points
for
percentage.
Tampa Bay and the points percentage. So we shall see. I get it. I'm just going to watch I'm going to bet the first 20 minutes of this one and then watch the game and enjoy it. That's the way I'm looking at it. But Andrew, before we get to the second game, and I want you people in the chat to get involved in this one. Let's pop this up, Andrew. Let's look at the race, or the crawl, as I call it, to the look at this. This is unbelievable. This is from 7 to 12. 6 teams separated by 3 points. And look at the odds on make or miss. The Ottawa Senators, off a big win against Carolina, -400 to make the playoffs. Man, I couldn't lay -400. I get it with Ottawa. I completely understand. I just can't lay 400, where a loss to someone could easily change that. What's the one that stands out to you, if anything? Like the New York Islanders getting rid of Patrick Roy with 4 games left and hiring Peter DeBoers. They play their final 4 games at home, Andrew. They play Philadelphia, Columbus. Who are the other 2? I think I mentioned it in our channel. They play, let's have a look here, the New York Islanders. Actually, I don't have it here.
Philadelphia, New Jersey, Tampa, and Florida.
Those are the last 4 games.
Oh, sorry. No, that's for Detroit.
That's for Detroit.
Yeah, that's for Detroit. Speaking of Detroit, Carm, I tried to give this team some encouragement. And this is what always happens. It's so funny. Like I've got a buddy that we always talk hockey together, and he said to me during the year, because when I had my bad start to the season, I'm telling you, a lot of that bad start was me taking the Wings and they were losing. So I finally give up hope on them. And then I said, okay, you know what? Maybe this team can finally do it. And you guys remember that graphic I put up about the history of March of Detroit. It just doesn't make any sense how bad they've been in the month of March for the last 4 years. But Carm, the effort that this team gives, the penalty that Patrick Kane took, I'm sure you saw that floating around. I mean, just the worst penalty he possibly could have taken, puts his team undermanned, and then, of course, Minnesota capitalizes. And how about the Minnesota Wild just being the most like they're being like the gravedigger, like they were just going around and just beating the teams that they needed to beat to help out other teams. And you look at the Ottawa Senators, they were probably so happy to see that. Now, all of a sudden, all they had to do was step up in a big way. Like we cannot make it any more clear how big that game was for them against Carolina. And I got to give respect when credit is due. Tim Stützle had one hell of a game, and Brady Tkachuk had one hell of a game. And we all know what people say, Carm. Big-time players have to make big-time plays, and those guys stepped up quite a bit. And I got to also give credit to Rick Tocchet, because Rick Tocchet, the Philadelphia Flyers, this Philadelphia team's playing extremely well too.
Andrew, Someone dropped it, and yeah, they are. You got to give the Flyers definitely credit. But you look at it, and someone did mention it. The Islanders play Toronto next, and then all 4 games are at home. Toronto, then they play Ottawa. That's the big game. That is a big game for them in winning in regulation. Then they play Montreal, which is tough because the Canadiens don't seem to be losing to anybody, although they did lose to New Jersey. And then they finish with Carolina on the final day of the NHL season, in which Carolina could very well have the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference sewn up by then. And it is a game in which doesn't really matter to them. So you could see 1 or 2 guys out of the lineup. You could see, we'll see how it goes there. But you look at the Ottawa and why I don't want to lay the 400. So Ottawa plays Tampa next, which is tomorrow, after Tampa's game tonight. If Tampa was to lose tonight, they are a very live dog tomorrow, because they'll be a short price, but they'll probably be like plus 105, plus 110 against Ottawa. Then they play the Florida Panthers, who absolutely smoked them a couple of weeks ago. They play the Islanders in that big game. Then they finish with at New Jersey and home to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And convince me that on the final day of the NHL season, if the Ottawa Senators have not clinched a playoff spot yet, that their hated rival, the Toronto Maple Leafs, would not love to stick the final nail in the coffin of the Ottawa Senators. Lane 400 is insane to me as far as that one goes. The one that throws me off is Columbus, man. They were just motoring along the Blue Jackets. And then it is, the odds are worse on the teams with only 4 games left, obviously. The Washington Capitals, look at them, like plus 1,100 for the Caps.
They're running out of time.
Yeah, too little, too late. Do you remember the Pittsburgh Penguins went on that heater and then fell 1 point short?
Yeah, but they screwed everybody else. Remember, like that. And that's the thing is, let me ask you this question. This is going to be just off the top of your head, Carm, because to me, one of the number 1 teams for the question I'm about to ask you right now is the New York Rangers. And I said this to Buster on Friday when we were doing a show together. Which teams do you think still want to stick around and screw with teams and play upset? And which teams do you think are just absolutely rolling over and they're dead? You know, I always shout out Teddy Covers because Teddy always says this is the time of year with basketball especially, but you can use it with hockey. When a team is dead, they are dead. And the Florida Panthers, I don't know how the hell I didn't go back to it yesterday. 5% play. Pittsburgh over 3.5 goals. They finished with 9. You know, and I just sometimes don't like going back with the same bet back-to-back days. And of course, they hit the team total again. But it seems like Florida is one of those teams, they're rolling over. But the New York Rangers, Carm, they have not given up. The St. Louis Blues, you've been cashing some tickets with them. Who are some teams that you think maybe aren't going to make the playoffs, but they're not giving up?
Believe it or not, we're going to talk about one of those teams, not next, but in our final game that we cover. But there are a few. They're just going out, and in years past, we've seen it with some teams are plus 300. It is crazy just because the top 5 or the bottom 5, as you want to call it, as far as draft positions go, it is us as fans, us as handicappers want to believe at times that there are ways around not, using the word tanking. It's just a word that we use, but in trying to get some guys up for the minors, if you still have some call-ups left, get them into the lineup, and maybe it's not your best 18 guys or 19 guys on the bench, and you lose a game because it doesn't matter to you. But it's all about draft positioning. Gavin McInnis is going to be the number 1 pick, or should be a top 2 pick right now. Andrew, I've seen his odds drop a bit. DraftKings has Gavin McInnis minus 160 to be the number 1 pick, and then you get plus 140 or whatever it is on everyone else. being the number one. That was at like minus 220 a little while ago. So there are some other ones that are flourishing. We'll see. But the draft class for first, second, third, maybe even fourth picks are good ones that you want to finish in one of the bottom 5 spots. But I'm not so sure. It's why I find it, and I'm sorry. I actually have to post a video of me popping the champagne because the Leafs were eliminated from the playoffs. That'll come. Won't be on this show. It'll be up on social media at some point. But Andrew, it is why even Toronto cannot do things right. They fired their GM. Their coach is a lame duck, Berube. He's going to be gone in the offseason. This could be the very last season we see Austin Matthews next season. I mean, that's hampered a little bit by the injury, of course. Not a lot of teams might want to be takers on unless the prognosis is good on his recovery and his recovery time. But this is a Toronto team that could have easily protected their pick by finishing in the bottom 5. And now there's a very good chance the Boston Bruins will own that pick and the Leafs have no first round draft pick. Explain that to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, this makes me laugh so much because it goes from them saying we still have a chance to we still have a chance. It's not they're not going to miss the playoffs to all of my friends are cheering against them right now. They literally do not want them to win games. I will say this, Carm, the odds will of course fluctuate. I will admit I was one of the people that overreacted a bit after Gavin McKenna didn't play that well at the World Juniors to start. But then he got a lot better. I said, oh, maybe there's value on the no for him to go first overall. Here's the deal. There's time between the draft lottery where you figure out who's going to be the top picks, right? And then when the actual draft is. I'll tell you right now, if it's a Canadian team, especially if it's Vancouver, those odds are going to skyrocket up. They will take him. Like they will take it. Because when it comes to betting, I know this is a betting show. It's not as much about the player as it is about the position. Sometimes, like that's why I think the Canadians were able to get Demidov because teams below them wanted centermen or they wanted defensemen and they didn't want a winger and things like that. But anyway, we'll talk about the draft and all that stuff on future shows. We're 22 minutes in here, Carm, and there's a show that probably this hour has 22 minutes, and this has been us so far. This hour
has 22 minutes. And I'll get rid of this comment in a second, but Los Kid seems to think that Dan Hughes is going to win Coach of the Year. I gave you guys Coach of the Year a little while ago. Some of you guys played it. Some of you guys didn't. The plus money is obviously gone. Lindy Ruff is winning the Coach of the Year this year. Not a doubt in my mind, and he's now minus 200, Andrew, to win that one. So we shall see as far as that goes. But Andrew, I'm going to go to you on this one because I'm going to have a pod play on this game, but minus 137 on the LA Kings, plus 113 on the Nashville Predators. Total sits here 5.5, juiced to the over. And these two teams are meeting for the second time in, I believe, 6 days, 5 or 6 days. Nashville went in there and got the victory in the first one. Can they bookend the wins, this Preds team?
Well, I think that, again, we talk about the teams like the New York Rangers that are going to continue to give it their all, like the St. Louis Blues that are going to continue to give it their all towards the end of the season. You have to put the Nashville Predators in that category. However, Carm, one thing I'm going to throw out there, when we look at score lines like 6-3, like 5-4, 4-2, another 6-3, this is a team that has seemingly been playing into more overs since it's been a little bit more clear that they're not going to probably make the postseason. We start to see that the offense is loose. You're gripping the stick a little bit less tight. You're feeling it, but you're also realizing, hey, we're almost playing for contracts. We're playing for pride. We're playing for thinking about that beach in Cabo in the next 2 weeks. Nashville's playing well, but we don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Who knows what can happen in a crazy world like this? But I think they will give it a good effort. So you can play the plus 113 or you can take the over because this LA Kings team, I don't know what else to say, Carm, besides their goaltending has not been there. They're coming off a game 7-6, 6-6 going into overtime, 7-6 final. I had a friend that was at the Staples Center or crypto.com, whatever we're calling it these days. And the fact that they had that type of game, it just goes to show that their offense is back, but their defense and goaltending has not been there. So I'll play the over. Partial lean for me to take a look at taking Nashville as well. And yes, TJ, I love that you noticed it. We do have a soccer flag in the background right now. We got one little small hockey picture and a big soccer flag. You're right about that.
Andrew, I'm going mano a mano with you on the Nashville playoff thing. Nashville will make the playoffs, I say.
All right.
Yes, I think Nashville makes the playoffs. They're in a playoff spot at the moment, I believe. You look at it, they play the LA Kings tonight. Then second of a back-to-back tomorrow, they are in Anaheim, who haven't been playing the best hockey of late either. Then they get Utah. Utah's playing extremely well at the moment. They return home for their final 3 games. It's always great to finish off your season with three or four games at home. If you are within shouting distance, and they play the Minnesota Wild, they play the San Jose Sharks, and they play the Anaheim Ducks on the final day of the NHL season. I like Nashville. I think if they can win 2 of 3 games on this West Coast trip that they have left, LA Kings tonight, Anaheim Ducks, Utah Mammoth, those win 2 of the 3 games, they have a shot. The important one is tonight, because the Kings are right there with them, right? So you have the Kings. Where are we here? The Kings have 81. Nashville has 81. Tonight's game is huge. Same amount of games left as well too. So we shall see, Andrew. We're mano a mano on this one, my friend. But speaking of, you talked about teams that will not go away, Andrew. And let's bring this one up. Oops, sorry. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable, and I've talked about it to you, Carm, and I don't want to sound repetitive, but we both know the TV broadcasters would love to see San Jose against Colorado in the first round. They would love to see it.
Yeah.
But San Jose coming off a loss. Can they bounce back? Well, maybe Chicago wants to be that team that plays spoiler as well, because they're coming off a win the other day, a 4-2 win for them. So we'll see. But you've got a battle of the young teams, Bedard versus Celebrini. This is an underrated matchup here. And again, this is the time of year where must win does not mean will win, Carm. And we saw that over the weekend on Saturday afternoon. What was it? Detroit and who? Detroit, who was the other team? Detroit to start
Saturday afternoon?
Yeah.
Rangers.
But who else played that was trying to make the playoffs? I can't remember. Like 2 teams. Anyway, must win does not mean will win. So my question to you here.
No, it doesn't.
Do they get the job done, or what do you think about this game?
I think the Sharks are starting to run out of gas. Now they're a big favorite tonight. 161 is a big favorite. The thing is, with the Blackhawks, is you look at the Blackhawks and they're off a win against the Seattle Kraken, and it was Soderblom in goal for them in that game, Andrew. You look at some of the games that they've been playing, and they get a 4-2 win over a Seattle team that probably really needed to win that one to have any chance. They played the Edmonton Oilers very tough at home in Edmonton. They beat the Winnipeg Jets. Actually, they lose to the Winnipeg Jets in OT, but they're competing against teams. They beat the New York Islanders when the Islanders were running a little bit hot. They took 3 of 4 points against the Minnesota Wild when they played back-to-back games. They beat the Utah Mammoth back-to-back games. Chicago has not given up. They're just going out there and they're trying to score goals. They're having fun. They know they're going to finish in one of the bottom 5 spots in the standings. They have 70 points right now. They have 5 games left. There is absolutely no way they can possibly screw this up as far as I'm concerned. They have the second worst record, and yet they're competing. They're plus 132. Do I want more money to take the Chicago Blackhawks tonight? Sure. I would love 160, but you're not going to get it. And it's just because the Sharks aren't blowing anybody out. We get Spencer Knight in goal, so they get the number one goalie in goal after they use their backup goalie to beat the Seattle Kraken. Why aren't the Chicago Blackhawks a live dog here? They are to me. I think they get the win tonight, Andrew. So give me the Blackhawks tonight.
Hey, the teams have been playing spoiler, that's for sure. Some of these teams, like as I mentioned, that are out of the playoffs already, they have been playing spoiler. And the other team that I was trying to think about was the Ottawa Senators. They lost to Minnesota on Saturday. That's what I was trying to think about. So the Red Wings and the Senators early Saturday morning. So Carm, a great deal here available for both of us. Again, guys, $199 rest of the regular season plus the playoffs. A lot of you guys have been saying, Andrew, why not more picks? Why not more picks? One and done right now. Well, I've been giving all kinds of free content, gave out free picks for Saturday. We did pass yesterday. I've got 4% best bet for today. Running through all my analytics, running through all my sources, and definitely like this one quite a bit. So you guys take advantage at WagerTalk.com. But for all of you guys that have been joining me for this package, we're going to be all locked and loaded for the rest of the postseason. If that's a little bit steep for you guys, for your liking, there's still a great hat trick special. Carm, they can team up with me and you. And again, we always say this, we're both on good runs. We don't often give out the same plays. So you guys aren't going to really get the same games from me and Carm. So you guys go to our pages, wt.buzz/CB or AM, and you're going to get our favorite plays from both of us in one great special. So looking forward to a very, very good run to close things out. And Carm, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now, but there's only a couple games left, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, no, we're getting there. The season ends the following Thursday, the 16th, and there's still plenty of play. You know, I always love, and I'm not trying to poke fun at guys first, but limited benefits with his LOL, Hawks ain't winning tonight, bro. These are the same, it sounds like the same comments when someone says, there's no way the Calgary Flames are beating the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim, and then Calgary wins 5-3. There's no way the St. Louis Blues are going into Colorado and beating them last night. They beat them 3-2. This is why they play the game. Hey, if you want to go and start laying $1.70 on favorites, by all means, do it. Your bankroll will be dead within a month. I can guarantee you that. Making comments, it always blows my mind like that. But those types. But it is what it is, Andrew. And for you guys, that deal is a great one. I would love to sit here and say, hey, I'm 7-3 on a great run, guys. Pick up that NHL package for me. But Andrew's on a 12-0 run. Absolutely phenomenal, man. We don't want to sound salesy on the show, Andrew, but a phenomenal run by you. 12-0. You're going for the TJ Salvatore will tell you 13 is a lucky number in Italy. So make sure whatever team you choose has at least one Italian on it tonight, and it's not the soccer team. With that said, Andrew, let's get to the pod play and then your same game parlay. My pod play. Yes, lo and behold, Andrew, it is time for the Uncle Fester image. Look at that. Man, do I look scary. I am taking the Nashville Predators, guys. I love the way they're playing right now. The first of a big back-to-back for them tonight. They play the LA Kings. They went into LA and beat the LA Kings. And not only that, but the analytics for that game were something like 4.46 to 3.14. They thoroughly dominated that game. They had the important post-game analytics, and they had the important 2 points. I say they get the win tonight and continue to roll and make a push for the playoffs. They are one of the hottest teams in the NHL at the moment. give me the Nashville Predators plus 113 as your pod play.
The Nashville Predators. Again, Carm, just one of those teams that is not going away. And I respect it. They've got too many veteran players, man. Too many veteran players to go away, to not make that push for the playoffs. As you mentioned, they're sitting pretty right now. So they're feeling pretty good. We had a comment here, and I respect the persistency with this, asking about the Seattle one. We only talk about 3 games most days, and we'll have play of the day, then some props. I'll tell you what, guys. Mark Scheifele goal scoring prop is one that I like quite a bit in that game. Plus 150. Mark Scheifele goal scoring prop. He has been willing his team right now. And if you guys remember the old-fashioned Don Buster special, we haven't talked about these as much, but if you like Winnipeg, I wouldn't talk anybody off that minus a half goal first period. I feel like with Winnipeg, you find out pretty early and often what type of Winnipeg you're going to get each and every night out of them. So should be a great game there. I appreciate the comment. And Carmen, hey, we don't always get to every game, and we don't always have opinions on every game right away.
Yeah. So. I had a choice between the two, Andrew. Sorry to cut you off. I had a choice between the two because we're only going to cover 3 because I wanted to do the make or miss segment. And we have a hard out. We got to get these done in like 40 minutes, the shows and stuff. But the fact that, I'm leaning to an upset tonight in the Chicago game, I wanted to put that out there for everyone. The Nashville one, which is the pod play, is you'll find it also on the WagerTalk free play section with my write up there. And it's a client play as well, too. So I'm giving out a client play. Sometimes we can't do all 4 games. We have a couple guys on like tomorrow, Buster and Brian. We end up with like 4, maybe 5 games. So that's the best we can do, or the best way to answer it. Andrew, with that said, give us a same game parlay winner.
Guys, what a week it was last week with the player props. Great to deliver with a winning week to close out the week on Friday with a good winner there. We had a plus 400 in the mix. We got 3 bets for this one here. Will Smith point. All right. Igor Chernyshov, 1+ point, and Tyler Bertuzzi, 2+ shots on goal. One thing I will add, guys, this is based on the line combos of their last game. Of course, we record this live, 11 a.m. Eastern. The West Coast teams don't have their morning skate yet, so I don't have the new line combos, if there are new line combos. But what I'm doing here, and most of you guys can probably tell this, is that the prop on Macklin Celebrini to get 1 point is way too juicy. He's got 100 points on the season. So you get the 2 guys he's playing with, Will Smith and Chernyshov, 1+ point. And Bertuzzi has gone over 1.5 shots on goal in 4 of his last 5 games. This is a dream matchup for anybody that likes player props, Carm, because both these teams don't really know how to play defense very well, whether it's shots on goal or point props. This is a pretty good game for player props. So plus 315, these 3 guys to get the job done for us. Let's make it happen. Going for 13 in a row in the NHL tonight, guys. Join me, wagertalk.com. Let's make some money. Or, again, that great special, $199, rest of the regular season. And then, of course, you can go ahead and grab the rest of the year. Or I got the great combo special up at wagertalk.com for a couple different sports, MLB, CFL, and all that good stuff as well. Carm, you got a big play going tonight, man. Looking forward to cheering you on with that one. And, hey, man, Mondays are underrated days in the NHL. It doesn't have to be a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Saturday. We can make some money here on a Monday.
Yeah, 5% play going for me tonight. I was going through all the lines on Saturday, the projected lines, and I wanted to see the numbers when they came out on Monday. And then on Sunday when they came out, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking this one. So you can get that over at WagerTalk. You can use this deal here to take advantage of that and get the rest of the NHL season right through the playoffs, which is a great deal instead of paying 35 for one. Or that BOGO, if it's, I think it's still not the BOGO, but the buy 3 get 3. I think, Andrew, I think that's still available.
Yep.
I have Champions League up already. I have a couple plays this afternoon in Italian soccer. They go at 12 noon, so like 18 minutes before the first game of the two kicks off. But I have a 5% Champions League play up, and it's the same thing. I think the books didn't get it wrong, but I think my line makes it a definite play for me in a couple of Champions League games, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, and the one on Wednesday I made as a 5% play. So hopefully we can go a couple days this week, Andrew, with a couple big winners. So we shall see. But that's it for me, Andrew. Is it just one play out for you? You got any baseball going?
One MLB team total, one NHL 4% play.
All right, let's do it. 13-0, Andrew McInnis. You got it in the baker's dozen. I will eat a dozen donuts while we record tomorrow's show live. I still have to eat those cannolis. But with that said, Andrew, guys, thank you in the chat. You guys are absolutely awesome. Appreciate all the comments from you guys, for myself and Andrew McInnis. This has been Puck Time. We will see you on Tuesday morning with Brian Leonard and Don Buster.